you two over here coming
Okay.
out on YouTube and then falling in love. I mean, what kind of romance novel is this? I mean, this is
We're waiting for our movie edit.
It's a dramatic, it's a dramatic romance novel.
But Michael, that's kind of the perfect start to this interview. Like the fact that you come out on YouTube, you both really came out right around the same time, and then you meet each other, you fall in love. Now here you are all these years later, traveling the world, trying to start a family, like doing it all. Like, do you ever have to just pinch yourself and see how far you've come just in the past few years alone?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I think a lot of times we're just like thinking about the day to day. Kind of weird to think about all that's happened in the last like 8 or 9 years.
I think it's pretty easy to forget where we came from, or just kind of like, living from the day to day and kind of in survival mode. And take for granted kind of like where we're at now, because before I came out, I would have never imagined myself in a loving relationship like this, a husband, or like being able to have a family or start a family. Like that is just so completely beyond what I ever thought I could ever have in my life. So easy to just forget, like, oh wow, this would not have been possible 20 years ago, or you know.
Absolutely. So beautifully said. And I'm sure you guys would agree. I think one of the reasons we've had some progress in the past few years is really thanks to the internet. I mean, who would have thought like coming out on YouTube would just like open up all these different doors? I mean, let's add Trailblazer to that resume, honey.
Okay.
Just butter me up, okay. Traveling for me, even from a young age, being able to see other places and see how they live, that really opened up my mind and helped me to realize that being gay and being out was okay. And I think like the trips that I took leading up to me coming out really impacted me and helped influence me to come out.
I'm curious, thanks to all your travel experience, what would you say are some of your main tips or main piece of advice, especially for a queer traveler who's going out there and might be a little concerned with who they might come in contact with whenever they're leaving home?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think that there are a lot of amazing queer travel influencers and content creators that are traveling to a lot of different places around the world. So, I mean, you can just hashtag that LGBT wherever I want to go, hashtag, and just see if anybody's posted from there.
And then don't travel alone, especially if you're questioning about the safety of the place that you're going. Do not travel alone.
Yeah.
Go with someone.
Yes, beautifully said. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for that advice, you guys. We got a podcast in the works that's talking about this journey that you're on right now about trying to start a family. Michael, let me just ask you, how is the journey going so far? And what is that like for you talking about it on a podcast for everybody to learn from as well?
Yeah, I mean, the journey right now is kind of in a big waiting game. We're in this kind of like long span of waiting until we can like find someone who will eventually be our surrogate. So
we have embryos.
We have embryos.
We're ready. We gotta find someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a waiting game.
It's a waiting game right now. I mean,
kind of, I'm not waiting. We're like actively looking. We're actively looking. So we're not just sitting around waiting. We're looking. We're doing things.
Fair. But yeah, talking about it on the podcast, it's kind of therapeutic,
and I love it because it is such an important topic to discuss and figure out, and especially for like our community. As we're like getting older, as there's more of us that are out and open and being in long-term relationships or just starting families on their own, and that's becoming more acceptable. Like there needs to be more conversation and more education around surrogacy, adoption, foster to adopt, and the methods that we can go about starting our families.
Yeah.